Well, the Border Gavaskar Trophy has come to an end. India win it 2-1. The match had ended in a draw, but I thought it was a good test match. And today we're going to discuss the final day. Finally, we get to day 5 of a test match in India. Dillon Pink here, Sheldon Dougherty on Bodyline Podcast. Sheldon, you happy with the way that the day went, or was it just a bit boring?
It's different, right? It's quite ironic, Dil, for what 4 test matches we were asking for, a test with a better surface, and it looked like if it went for another 3 more days, it wouldn't have gone over with how flat it was today. But yeah, I guess it was different. I mean, we all wanted to see batsmen score some runs finally, and we did see that. And today as well, we saw Labuschagne and Head bat for a while, and they batted quite well. It was good to see the batsman at least, look to play. And it wasn't that easy today. At times it was keeping a bit low and it was doing a bit, but they seemed to apply themselves and they batted quite well today.
Yeah, of course. I thought Head and Manas there in that first hour, they batted really well. And I think they had already made up their mind by then that they were going to play for a draw. And Head in particular, he went after the bowling a bit and looked good to get 100 there, but got out on 90 there. Unfortunately, it would have been a brilliant 100 for him to end the series on a nice note. And but moving ahead, Sheldon, what else did you feel like this test match could have offered us? Of course, we've got to see 4 brilliant hundreds there. Usman Khwaja, Cameron Green, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli there, all scoring big hundreds there.
Yeah, Dil, it's interesting. I mean, I guess we're never happy as cricket fans, right? Either you'll see people complaining now and saying, oh, why was it so flat? These are the same people who were complaining that it was doing too much. It is tough, I mean, to get, a pitch that is good to bat on, good to bowl on. And I think it was pretty good. It was at least a different surface, and batsmen did get to score. And I thought it was an interesting test match. At times it felt like even on day 1, it looked like Australia could have been blown away. But you got to credit batsmen as well. They have to come in and score. Cameron Green came in on the first day, for example, when it was not that easy. And his knock often will be overplayed by saying, oh, it's a flat pitch. Anyone can do it. I mean, it's still hard. Khwaja batted almost 2 days. Virat Kohli batted almost 2 days. That's still tough on any pitch. Right, Dil? So, I mean, we can't just discredit batsmen who score on pitches which are easier to bat, because we'll credit bowlers when they bowl on pitches which do a bit. So I feel all that pitch talk, whatever, man, you still got to score, and they did quite well to do it.
Well, Sheldon has already said it. I mean, yes, I do agree with you, Sheldon. As fans, we're never happy, but I think we've gone used to results being in test matches, especially since the World Test Championship has been there. I think there are teams who go for the win, and this was just one of those odd test matches where, a draw was on the cards there, and you didn't see from either team. Neither of them wanted to push for the win, and that just felt a bit odd. But having said that, Sheldon, just want to remind our viewers there that Australia just declared at 175 for 2 today, and then just call it quits, that they knew that the game wasn't going to go anywhere, and then shook hands, walked off the field, and then they had a match that was done a bit earlier than predicted. But a word on the man of the match there, the king, Virat Kohli, rightly adjudged, you would say, for that 100.
Yeah, Dil, I thought it was a really good knock, and obviously well-deserved man of the match. But I found it interesting that I probably felt Ashwin probably should have got man of the match, just because, for a bowler to take 5 wickets in an innings in this game felt much tougher, because I felt, of course, there were 4 centurions, and obviously they were all terrific knocks. But I just felt maybe a bowler who took 6 wickets in the game, could have got it. But yeah, still amazing. I mean, deserved for Kohli, a terrific knock as well. And of course, it felt like a fairy tale thing that he ended the series with that man of the match award as well. But yeah, can't complain really. That's just being very picky.
Oh, Sheldon, he has to always going on the nitty-gritty things there. Also, a word on the man of the series, Sheldon, the 2 man of the series, I mean, joint man of the series, I should say so. Ashwin and Jadeja. I mean, they've been absolutely brilliant this entire Border Gavaskar Trophy, and I think they've just amazing bowlers.
Yeah, Dil. I mean, very well deserved to both of them. I think they were the difference in the end between the 2 sides. I mean, the way they bowled specifically in the first 3 test matches as well, they were just superb. They rarely bowled a bad spell. I don't remember either of them bowling a bad spell.
Yeah.
the only times Australia looked to get runs quickly were against the other bowlers. That's the only time they could probably breathe for a second. I mean, they were just on the money as always. And we discussed even during the first test, what a great duo they are as well when it's like this, and they're so consistent. And on either end, you just don't know who to target because they're both so good, and a terrific pair and rightfully deserved as well. I felt, Dylan.
Yeah, for sure, Sheldon. And we've seen that even in the post-match presentation there when Harsha Bhogle was asking them, like, what it means for these guys. And both of them said that, like, when Ashwin is there, like, I feel that, okay, fine, I'm going to do this. And when Ravindra Jadeja say Ashwin's like, he helps me a lot, like, in terms of, like, getting the field, and he controls things from the other end. That's why I can bowl better. Both of them said almost the same thing, like, or at least meant that, like, they help each other out, which was just so great to see. And like you said, one of the best bowling pairs, right now in the world. Just so effective and so dangerous on a pitch when that offers even a bit of turn. You don't want to be facing these guys for any reason, right? But we were mentioning about the other match that was going on, New Zealand and Sri Lanka there. I mean, India said that, I mean, at least the coach said that, they were having one eye on that match that went onto the wire, like literally the wire, the last ball.
Wow.
Like, Sheldon, that was a brilliant game.
What's with New Zealand at test games nowadays in New Zealand? I mean, can they let us breathe for a second? It's just going down to the wire. Every last ball again, Dill, and Kane Williamson sliding across. And I'm sure every Indian fan during that lunch break was like tuned in watching that game. Edge of the seat stuff. And New Zealand just getting over the line there. And also that confirmed, Dill, that India are now into the World Test Championship final. And don't you feel at lunch, after lunch, like you kind of eased off and both teams kind of like were very carefree, knowing that both were true already as well?
Yeah, you felt that, especially when the drinks break came on. Like, the drinks break was a bit longer than usual. Like, both the teams were just on the field chilling, and neither of them wanted to go back and play. They're just sitting there and, like, taking the time. But yes, having said that, like you said, India have already qualified for the World Test Championship. They courtesy that brilliant win by New Zealand, literally off the last ball there. Yes, that's another test match, and they've had two of these matches in like inside 2 weeks, like, that went on to the wire. So that's brilliant for them. But a word on the new off spinner and leg spinner, Shubman Gill and Cheteshwar Pujara.
I think that was just a big surprise, right? Both them bowling from each end. The new Ashwin and Jadeja rental from one end to the other. I mean, it was so surprising to see, and you could tell it became a bit of fun also towards the end. You could tell the seriousness went off. It was going to be a draw. I think both sides would have loved to shake hands about 2 hours earlier as well. They were just doing formalities. And it was fun to see. And I liked seeing this from Australia and India, where it's more friendly, I felt. Even when Kohli was batting, you saw Smith trying out his bat. And it was so different to the old Border Gavaskar trophies when, Kohli and Australia were going head to head and it was fierce and you had Mitchell Johnson and all. And it just feels more friendly to the series, right? Like it just felt that way.
Completely agree. And I think all that has been back in the day. We can say like, at least 8-9 years ago when things were like really heated up between these two teams, and you would see Virat in the face of the Aussies, Steve Smith not giving up. Like, it was really, really intense. But like you said, this has been much of an ease, like, for both of them. Both of them like to play against each other, like, both the teams, I mean, like to play against each other. And you can see that when they're on the field, it is intense, but off the field, like, there's of course that friendship is there. And you've seen even at the end there, Virat Kohli taking his jersey, giving it to Todd Murphy. He signed it. Todd Murphy, like a fanboy there, just waiting for the jersey to come to him and hugging Virat. Like, these are the things you want to see, and just goes to show that it can be intense when you're on the field, but off the field, whatever happens there, like, you have to forget about it, because it's just a sport at the end of the day. One team will win, one team will lose, and you just have to forget about it and just like move on, like, but like you said, both these guys are going to meet up again at the World Test Championship, and that's going to be intense. That will be the final one, like, and on a pitch that is completely different for both of them.
Yeah, Dil, I'll tell you one thing. I don't think Gill and Pujara will be bowling in that final. I'll tell you that. I don't think they'll be bowling. But yeah, Dil, insane. It's like these sides can't get enough of each other. We're going to get a 5th test in the World Test Championship final as well. And that should be insane, right, Dil? In June, We're going to get that game at the Oval.
Of course, in June, mark your calendars, everyone. June 7th is when Australia and India take on each other for the final of the World Test Championship at the Oval, which is in England. And that's going to be a real cracker of a game there. It's going to be a different country, different pitch altogether. Two teams playing on a neutral venue. So that will be very, very interesting and intense to see. But also a word on Ashwin there, Sheldon. 26 wickets in this series. He's in the list for the highest wicket taker as an Indian, versus Australia. I mean, like you said, he's been fantastic there. And even Usman Khawaja, I mean, who at the start expected Usman Khawaja to be the highest run scorer in this series? Like, no one would have thought, but there he is, as a highest scorer in this entire series. And Virat Kohli, who had a bad run so far, finally ends up being the highest scorer for India in this Border Gavaskar Trophy.
Yeah, Dil, insane. Actually, Khawaja, you got right, Dil. When we did the pre-series predictions, you said Khawaja be top run scorer, and he was brilliant. I must say, in a series where most batsmen struggle, for him to hit a 50 in the second and third game, and then a terrific 100, he stood out from the Australian batsmen. He's just so good. I mean, in the first test, he played a few rash shots and got himself out. But after that, he just put his foot down and he just dug in, and he played terrifically well. It was almost reminiscent of how Smith played on the last tour. Like that's how good I'd say Khawaja was, and on some tough pitches, fair play to him. And Ashwin, what more can we say, right? He's just a brilliant bowler, and you almost take it for granted that he'll take these many wickets. And I often feel it's downplayed how well he does. Like okay, people are, it's at home, he got these wickets. Okay, what else? But it's still really tough. I mean,
it's very tough.
Exactly, and he just bowled so well. And even in Australia, the last time I remember how well he bowled there, where he kept getting Smith and Labuschagne out, and he's just such a skillful bowler, and rightfully so. He's ranked #1 right now because he's just so good.
Like you said, I mean, hats off to both these guys. They've really gone out there on difficult wickets, and both with the bat, Usman Khawaja there and Ashwin with the ball, doing amazing things for their respective teams. But if you had to pick out one moment, Sheldon, that you felt that, was the big turning point in this entire series, but just letting our viewers know, we will cover a detailed analysis sometime soon for one of these days. Then we'll give you a detailed analysis of the entire series. But right now, Sheldon, if you had to pick a moment that you felt that was a big turning point in the series, where do you think that was?
I don't want to copy Steve Smith, but I believe he said that first morning on the third test match in Delhi, when Australia capitulated. I think that was a big moment in the series. Australia were well in that game. Remember, we were talking about it and how excited we were for that test match. And that one day probably cost them the series. Now look at it. It finished 2-1. Australia were in that game, and that was a day they didn't need at that time when it happened. But fair play to Australia. After that, they came back really well. And after that, they probably didn't have another bad day. They probably kept fighting after that and produced very good days, in a row. So maybe they learned from it, and maybe it'll help them going forward as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That day, I thought in Delhi, that third day, that morning where they just fell out, and just like in the morning was the big turning point for them. But yes, I mean, having said that, they've played really well, Sheldon. But there you have it, guys. That's the word from Boundary Line Podcast there on the series. India taking it 2-1 like it's happened in the past 4 times. And of course, we've had some brilliant games altogether. Of course, the pitches were not the greatest, we would say, but I thought this last match, we had a fairly good pitch that ended, in a draw. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed our updates on this Border Gavaskar Trophy. We've been, trying our best to bring you these reviews and analysis ASAP, and so thank you so much for watching and supporting our channel. If you do like our videos and our content, do hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. You can follow us on Instagram as well. The accounts are there in the description. Also, please leave your comments and let us know what you thought about the Border Gavaskar Trophy and what you felt about it. And also, if you have any ideas for our channel, do let us know, guys, and so that we can bring those ideas to you. Thank you for staying tuned to us. We've got lots more coming up. Take care.